Right.
Would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know. It's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs, it sounds like.
One priority is to get Trump out of office. The tribe of people that have the responsibility and really should be scared to death of this man.
I love Diddy. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
Is
he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh, wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up.
Once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well.
Donald Trump isn't just turning his back on Sean Diddy Combs. He's allegedly making sure the bad boy mogul never sees daylight again. In a shocking twist that has both political insiders and hip-hop circles buzzing. Sources claim Trump is urging the court to slam Diddy with the maximum sentence possible, enough to lock him away for decades. But this isn't just about punishment. This is personal. Behind closed doors, Trump and Diddy reportedly clashed in a way that flipped their decades-long relationship upside down. And now, with the judge's latest ruling, Diddy's once confident legal team has gone from smug to scrambling overnight. Donald Trump isn't just walking away from Sean Diddy Combs. He's allegedly setting the stage to bury him under the harshest prison sentence the law will allow. Multiple insiders are claiming the former president has privately urged the court to throw the book at the bad boy mogul, pushing for the kind of punishment that could keep him locked up for decades, maybe even for the rest of his life. This isn't just courtroom drama. This is the kind of move that could erase Diddy's empire, shut down his legacy, and turn a hip-hop kingpin into a permanent cautionary tale. And here's the kicker. Those close to the situation say Trump's sudden fury isn't purely about justice or politics. It's personal. Behind closed doors, the two men reportedly had a falling out so sharp, so raw, that it shattered their decades-long relationship. Whatever loyalty they once had has been torched, and the smoke is still rising. Now, with Trump allegedly making his feelings crystal clear to the judge presiding over the case, Diddy's team is in full-blown panic mode. What was once a confident march toward a possible presidential pardon has now turned into a desperate scramble for survival. The betrayal at the heart of this feud could be the nail in Diddy's coffin, and the reason he may never walk free again. For years, Donald Trump and Sean Diddy Combs weren't just two high-profile names. They were part of the same glittering social circle. Back in the early 2000s, you'd see them on the same red carpets, at the same exclusive parties, moving in the same high roller circles of New York and Miami. Trump even once called Diddy a good guy and said he'd always stick up for him. The respect seemed mutual, at least on the surface. There were public smiles, private handshakes, and enough mutual friends to keep their paths crossing over the years. But fast forward to Trump's political rise, and that glossy friendship began to crack. When Trump announced his run for president, the warm public comments from Diddy cooled into silence, and then into open criticism. In 2017, during an interview, Diddy didn't hold back. He flat out said, "I think that, to be honest, we don't really give a F*** about Trump because black people are in the same F*** at up position. The tomfoolery that's going on in D.C., that's just regular, everyday business to black folks. It wasn't just a political disagreement. it was a public dismissal. Then came 2020, and Diddy doubled down, this time in an interview with Charlemagne the God. He called removing Trump from office the #1 priority, warning that certain communities should be scared to death if Trump stayed in power. These weren't just casual digs. They were shots fired, broadcast to millions. Insiders say that's when Trump's patience ended. A man who once called Diddy a friend now saw him as a public enemy. The feeling of betrayal cut deep, especially coming from someone Trump believed owed him loyalty, or at the very least, discretion. And in Trump's world, personal slights don't just fade away. They come back around with a vengeance. And that's when things snapped. When the whispers first started that Diddy might be angling for a presidential pardon, a lot of people thought it wasn't as far-fetched as it sounded. After all, Trump has a long history of handing out surprise pardons to celebrities, and this was a man who once called Diddy a good friend and promised to stick up for him no matter what. Old footage even shows Trump smiling for the cameras, brushing off questions about Diddy's reputation with a casual, "I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him." For years, that clip was proof to fans that whatever trouble Diddy found himself in, Trump would at least consider stepping in. But that tone has changed sharply. In a recent interview, when asked point-blank if he'd consider pardoning Sean Diddy Combs, Trump didn't sugarcoat it. "It's more difficult," he said, after recalling Diddy's very hostile comments during his presidential campaigns. "When you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements, it makes it more difficult to do." The interviewer pressed him, and Trump's final word on the matter was telling: more likely a no for Combs. It wasn't just the words, it was the delivery. Gone was the playful loyalty of the early 2000s. This was measured, deliberate, and public. Trump didn't dodge the question. He didn't leave the door open. Instead, he made sure the world knew that any lingering rumors of a pardon were now dead in the water. And for Diddy's legal team, who insiders say were banking on back-channel deals and political favors, this was the moment the ground shifted. What was once a friendly safety net was now a very visible trapdoor. Trump had gone from ally to executioner, and he wasn't hiding it. Diddy's legal nightmare isn't just about bad headlines. It's about cold, hard federal charges. He's been convicted on 2 counts of violating the Mann Act, a century-old law that makes it a federal crime to transport anyone across state lines for unlawful sexual activity. It's the kind of charge that has taken down powerful men before, and each count carries up to 10 years in prison. Do the math. That's a potential 20-year sentence hanging over his head, and this time, there's no platinum record or celebrity clout that can soften the blow. Before Trump allegedly stepped into the picture, legal experts were whispering that Diddy might actually walk away with a far lighter outcome. Being a first-time offender with deep community ties, plus the fact that he's already spent significant time in custody, had many predicting probation or time served. There was even quiet confidence in his camp that his celebrity status and high-powered legal team could tip the scales toward leniency. But that optimism evaporated the moment Judge Aaron's tone shifted, right after Trump's very public, more likely a no on the pardon. In a stunning move, the judge denied Diddy's 5th request for bail, even after he offered a staggering $50 million bond backed by his Miami mansion. The court's reasoning? Diddy was deemed both a flight risk and a danger to the community. And Judge Aaron didn't just hint at it. He laid it out in writing, stating there wasn't clear and convincing evidence that Diddy could be trusted to stay put or keep others safe if released. For a man who once thought he'd be sipping champagne in a penthouse while awaiting sentencing, the message couldn't have been clearer. The tide had turned, and the courtroom was no longer a friendly place. With every ruling, the walls seemed to close in tighter. And to insiders watching closely, the timing of Trump's public stance and the judge's newfound severity felt less like coincidence and more like cause and effect. Behind the polished suits and courtroom poker faces, Diddy's team was allegedly running one of the most aggressive back-channel campaigns for a presidential pardon in recent memory. According to multiple insiders, months before Trump's more likely a no comment, Diddy's lawyers and political allies had been quietly working the phones, setting up discreet meetings, and exploring every possible angle to get Trump on their side. The whispers in certain political and entertainment circles were impossible to ignore. Diddy wasn't just hoping for a break. He was betting everything on it. The alleged strategy? Offer the Fed something they couldn't refuse. Rumor has it that Diddy began cooperating behind closed doors, dropping names from the highest levels of entertainment, media, and politics. The insider list reportedly included daytime TV powerhouses like Oprah and Gayle King, entertainment icons, and even political heavyweights. Names that, if connected to the wrong kind of scandal, could send shockwaves through multiple industries. For Diddy, it wasn't just about shaving off a few years. It was about securing a get-out-of-jail-free card in the form of a full-blown presidential pardon. But the boldest and most dangerous move in this alleged play came when the whispers turned toward the most toxic rumor in American politics, the Epstein list. Sources claim Diddy had somehow gotten wind of scandalous, tightly guarded information about Trump's alleged connections to Jeffrey Epstein's infamous network. The rumor simmered for months, but it boiled over when Elon Musk decided to light a match. In a tweet that was live for only a few hours before being deleted, Musk wrote, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald J. Trump is on the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump." The tweet vanished, but not before the internet snatched screenshots and sent them ricocheting across every gossip blog and conspiracy forum on the planet. Trump quickly denied the claim, brushing it off as old news and insisting he hadn't been friendly with Epstein for nearly 2 decades. But for those paying attention, the damage was already done. The story was out, the whispers were louder, and the theory that Diddy might have been using this rumor as leverage suddenly felt a lot less far-fetched. If the plan really was to dangle explosive secrets to secure a pardon, it backfired spectacularly. Instead of walking into the Oval Office as a friend seeking mercy, Diddy may have walked straight into the crosshairs of a man who sees personal betrayal as a reason to go for the jugular. By now, even the most casual observers had picked up on the pattern. Something had shifted, and fast. The blackmail theory began circulating almost as soon as Trump's tone toward Diddy went from measured to ice cold. According to whispers from both political insiders and hip-hop industry veterans, Diddy may have believed he was holding a trump card, pun very much intended. The claim? He had compromising dirt on Donald Trump, potentially tied to old circles that overlapped with Jeffrey Epstein's network and other high-powered social players. Whether it was solid evidence or just the perception of it, Diddy's team allegedly believed it was strong enough to lean on. At first, the strategy seemed simple. Quietly remind Trump that granting a pardon could be mutually beneficial. But somewhere along the way, that subtle nudge allegedly turned into a shove. People close to the situation claimed Diddy started making it known, through trusted intermediaries, that certain files, names, and stories could find their way into the sunlight if the Oval Office stayed close to him. And if those whispers reached Trump's ears, and all signs suggest they did, then Diddy might have committed the cardinal sin in Trump's playbook, making it personal. This is the same man who has built his brand on never letting perceived enemies walk away unscathed. If Diddy was once a political inconvenience, he was now a full-blown target. What followed looked, to many, like calculated payback. Trump's public dismissal of pardon rumors wasn't just a casual statement. It was a declaration that any backroom deal was officially dead. Soon after, the federal tone toward Diddy hardened. The judge shut down the $50 million bail offer, and the prosecution's rhetoric became noticeably more aggressive. The fallout has been brutal. What could have been a quiet, strategic negotiation has allegedly spiraled into open warfare, with one of the most powerful political figures in America now positioned as Diddy's most motivated adversary. And if the blackmail theory is true, Diddy may have underestimated the speed and precision with which Trump moves to crush those who cross him. In the world of high-stakes power plays, timing is everything, and Diddy might have just played his biggest card at exactly the wrong moment. It's hard to believe that just a few short years ago, Diddy stood as one of the untouchable titans of American culture, a self-made mogul whose influence stretched from the boardroom to the Billboard charts. He was hip-hop royalty, the architect of an empire, the man who seemed to turn every scandal into a comeback story. But now, The lights are dimming. The phone calls aren't being returned, and the future that once looked limitless has been reduced to a concrete cell and a ticking clock. The dream of a presidential pardon, that golden parachute Diddy's team allegedly fought for behind closed doors, isn't just slipping away. It's gone. Trump's public shutdown of the idea wasn't a political maneuver. It was a bullet through the heart of Diddy's last, best shot at dodging the full weight of federal justice. And with that door slammed shut, the road ahead has only one destination. Legal analysts are already warning that without a political lifeline, Diddy is staring down the kind of sentence that erases decades, not years. 20 years under the Mann Act. Add on potential charges still in the pipeline, and you're looking at a calendar that could outlast his career, his fortune, maybe even his health. The mogul's legal defense, once confident enough to float multi-million-dollar bail packages, now feels more like damage control than a winning strategy. The empire he built is cracking under the pressure. Endorsements gone. Business partners silent. Artists distancing themselves faster than the public can keep track. The media isn't talking about his next album or his next deal. They're counting the days until the trial, and the number of people lining up to testify against him keeps growing. And so, the story that began with platinum records, champagne toasts, and red carpets is now being rewritten in real time. If nothing changes, if no miracle appears, Diddy's legacy won't be measured in Grammys or millions earned. It will be reduced to a mugshot and an inmate number. From mogul to inmate. From power to powerlessness. From one of the richest men in music to a man waiting for the sound of the cell door closing. If nothing changes, Diddy's story doesn't end with music. It ends with a prison jumpsuit.